One of the most annoying things about Peace Walker's boss fights is the roar stun. Every time certain bosses roar, Snake freezes, interrupting your reloads and leaving you completely vulnerable. But after over 15 years of playing this game, I realized that an item I ignored has a secret ability that completely negates this annoying mechanic. If you've never played Peace Walker or don't know much about the development behind this game, I won't give you a full breakdown here, but you can check out this video I made all about how much Monster Hunter during the PSP era influenced Hideo Kojima during its creation. Suffice to say, Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker's gameplay and systems borrow very heavily from Monster Hunter games. So much so that Konami and Capcom actually collaborated by bringing some fan favorite monsters from Monster Hunter over to Peace Walker. But more on that a little later. Kojima Productions also decided to borrow one of the most annoying mechanics from Monster Hunter. Whenever you first attract the attention of a monster, usually by hitting it, or whenever it enrages mid-battle, it lets out a roar that completely stops your character in their tracks. Sound familiar? In Monster Hunter, there are ways around it, like a well-timed roll. Something you can do in Peace Walker as well, by the way, but it requires much stricter timing. You can also wear armor that gives you a skill called earplugs. Keep that skill name in mind as we continue. Lately I've been playing Monster Hunter Wilds and messing around with a weapon that's new to me, the light bowgun. With this weapon, the earplug skill is invaluable since it allows you to keep blasting without worrying about being interrupted. This got me thinking about Peace Walker since I've also been spending my time prepping some tips and tricks for the upcoming Master Collection Volume 2. Now going into this, I knew about certain recruitable soldiers having the earplug skill in Peace Walker, but they're kinda rare and you don't really come across any high rank soldiers you can use with that skill until way later in the game. So I sat there thinking about what else could be done about that annoying roar. Well, I remembered a certain item that players only really use for a couple of very specific missions or as a meme to play various Metal Gear music during gameplay. This item, as you have probably gathered from the video's title and thumbnail, is none other than the Sony Walkman. The Walkman exists as one of the many collaboration items found within Peace Walker, and judging by the in-game description of it, as well as Kaz's conversation with Snake about it, you wouldn't really think it's very useful. Hell, for over 15 years, I didn't really see the point of it either, other than just another example of Kojima being Kojima and inserting the stuff he likes and uses on a daily basis into one of his games. But I also thought if there was one person and one dev team that would make an item you literally plug your ears with also have the earplug skill effect, it would be Kojima Productions. So I got to researching. After going online and looking through old threads, I found a handful of game facts or game FAQ posts discussing the Walkman's uses. One post claimed that it has the earplugs effect carried over from Monster Hunter during the crossover missions. Sure enough, when I tested it against Tigrex, it worked exactly as described by the user. Having the Walkman equipped and playing music makes you immune to Tigrex, Rathalos, and most importantly, Gearrex's roars. With Gearrex having the most frequent and most punishing of roars, the Walkman is actually an incredibly powerful item in every encounter against Rex. It even negates his most lethal attack, his high-pitched roar that reverberates off his ejected spines. But every source I could find had one thing in common. They only really talked about the Monster Hunter missions and monsters themselves. Nothing mentioning the AI bosses, more specifically the titular Peace Walker. So I decided to try it out on her next. Peace Walker's second battle would be a great mission to test it out, especially while playing as Snake, since he doesn't innately carry the earplug skill himself. Peace Walker also always roars immediately after getting her out of missile launch mode, making this the perfect mission to consistently test the Walkman. To get her out of that phase quickly, let's take the M47 Dragon for maximum damage. And now for the most important part of the test, equipping the Walkman. To eliminate any doubt, I positioned myself well within the roar radius. Now that we're in position, let's make sure we have our Walkman on and playing music and then get her out of nuclear launch mode. She should turn around in just a second and begin her roar. And as you can see, we are completely unaffected. And just as an example of how this looks with no Walkman and no earplug skill on, here is footage of the same exact mission, started the same exact way, just without equipping the Walkman. It's clear the Walkman's effect isn't limited to the Monster Hunter missions. At this point, I was thinking, holy shit, I wish I knew about this years ago. And also, is this common knowledge and I just completely missed it over the years? I decided to check Peace Walker's speedruns, and what surprised me is that I couldn't find any runners that used the Walkman to bypass the roars. Most chose to either sit through it or quickly reposition outside of the roar range before it happens. Now, I'm not a Peace Walker speedrunner, so I don't know the most up-to-date strategies for each section of the game, but researching these runs brought up another question. Maybe the reason the speedrunners don't use it is because only the late-game high-rank Walkman actually grants the effect. If that was true, the item would be far less useful than I originally thought. The next step was obvious. Bring the Walkman rank down to 1 and see if that is enough to stop the roars. Let's go into the same exact Peace Walker Battle 2 mission, but this time with the rank 1 version of the Walkman. I also wanted to test if simply having the Walkman equipped was enough without actually having to play music. If both of these variables end up working, then the Walkman is much more viable starting from early on in the game. And it turns out, even the rank 1 Walkman works, and it works by just simply having it equipped in your items menu. You don't have to actually play any music. This is going to completely change the way I see the Walkman in any future playthrough of Peace Walker I do from here on out. There is one more question I have though. If you've done any helicopter boss battles, you'll know that when the helicopter gets close to the ground to drop off more reinforcements and the player is nearby at the time, Snake will go into a similar animation as the roar stun from the helicopter's downdraft. Just out of curiosity, I'd like to know if Kojima Productions coded this in a way that makes this type of animation stun unique, or if it's coded the same way as a monster roar is. If it's the latter, the Walkman should work against this too. So let's go into the attack chopper battle from the main story with a loadout that allows us to quickly eliminate enemy reinforcements and force the helicopter to descend. Okay, so we've got the first squad of guards out of the equation, which means the helicopter should be coming down soon. And unfortunately, this is where the fun ends. I can confirm that the Walkman does not stop the downdraft stun from helicopters. Turns out Kojima Productions didn't get lazy with their programming and made it so this type of animation stun is different from the sound-based roars of the AI bosses and monsters. You win this time, Kojima. I love how after so many years and so much time invested in these games, I am still learning new things about them. Please let me know if you knew about this and any other tips, tricks, or secrets you'd like to share with others in the comments below. If you're new to the channel, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.